shalom, shalom, children of the Most High God. I believe you are well. I believe you are keeping safe. Jehovah God is protecting you, is providing for you, and is providing a cover over your life. My name is Onyango Erick. As always, I'm elated to share the word of God with you. I know you have had conversations around the globe. There's a lot of cry. Conversations, there is element of cry. Even to the family level, there is element of cry. People are crying over a lot of issues. Economic, political, social, technological. People are crying. There's a lot of outcry. Everywhere you go, people are crying. People are crying. Even mighty men are crying. Even powerful men are crying. Even middle class are crying. Initially, the people who used to cry were the people of the bottom of the pyramid. The middle class were known as fence-sitters. They were not crying, but now they are also crying. There are nations that are now crying. There are people who are at pinnacle. They are crying. There are people who have stable economy. They are crying. Everyone is crying. Why are people crying? I would like us now to go to the scripture, what was happening during the time of Moses, during the time of the children of Israel. Why were these people crying? And why are we crying? The book of Exodus chapter 3 verse 7 to 10. We just want to look at what was happening after the children of Israel, 70 of them migrating to Egypt. Then rose a king who never knew the history of the children of Israel, how they found themselves in that nation. So Exodus chapter 3 verse 7, the Bible says, then the Lord said, I've seen how cruel my people are being treated in Egypt. God watches. So we are being reminded, the Lord said, I've seen how cruel my people are being treated in Egypt. I have heard their cry. I have heard them crying out to be rescued from the slave drivers. I know all their sufferings. God is aware of the suffering of men. Verse 8, and so I have come down to rescue them from the Egyptians and to bring them out of Egypt to a spacious land which is rich and fertile, and in which the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites now live. So God is reminding the children of Israel that He has seen how they are suffering, is aware of their suffering, is not ignorant of their tribulation. God is aware of their suffering. Why were these people suffering? Why were they crying? What was the trigger of this suffering? What contributed to these lamentations? What made them to have this anguish? Why were they crying to God? Why? We'll go back to the Exodus chapter 1, where we know, chapter 1 verse 8, we realize, then a new king who knew nothing about Joseph came to power in Egypt. So the king who was ruling then did not have any information about the children of Israel. He was a juvenile. He was not aware. He did not relate to the history of the children of Israel. He did not know Joseph. He did not remember, or he was not informed of the exploits, of the changes, of the level that Joseph took the children of Egypt. He was not aware. the contribution of Joseph to their treasury, to their economy. So this king did not know anything about Joseph. He did not know how they found themselves in Egypt. So when we continue, we discover these people were crying. You know you cannot cry when you are at your comfort. You can never cry when you are enjoying life. You can never cry in your vacation. You can never cry when in your tranquil, in a serene environment, in a swimming pool, in a jacuzzi. You only cry when you are at pain. You only cry when you are suffering. So the children of Israel were in a very bad state. That's why they were crying. Africa citizens are crying. Europe, they are crying. America, people are crying because they are troubled. There is a video I watched, the other side of America, that we have never seen. There are so many people living in the street. There are so many beggars in America. Those people are crying. There are people now dying while trying to cross over to those powerful nations. So because there is a lot of cry. So we find the children of Israel were also crying. They were under a lot of suffering. They were trying their level best to enjoy life, but they could not afford because there was a thorn in their lives. Exodus chapter 11, 1 verse 11. We just want to look at what was making these people to cry. And we can relate to exactly what makes people to cry. When you meet your colleagues, when you meet your family members, when you meet your friends, there is a lot of cry. Cry of economic hardship. Cry of difficult moments. There is a lot of cry. Chapter 1 verse 11, the Bible tells us, so the Egyptian put slave drivers over them to crush their spirit with hard labor. So there are two things here. There are people now whose work is to crush spirits. How do they crush your spirits? By making you to have the spirit of pessimism, the spirit of being defeated, the spirit that you cannot make it. Their words are breaking your spirit. They are telling you, you will not make it. You did not vote for us, so there is no hope for you. You don't have shares in this government, so you have nothing. You have no stock. You have no stake in this government. That one is breaking your spirit. So even the Egyptian, they had men who are breaking the spirit of the children of Israel. So there are people who are causing people to cry because they are breaking their spirit. Someone tells you, even when you study, you will not get job. That person is breaking your spirit. Someone is telling you, oh, because you are of this age, you will never get married. That one is breaking your spirit. So even the children of Israel were crying because their spirit was being destroyed, was being broken, was being crushed. Nowadays, the reports are negative. You are being told of how you will not make it. You are being told of how you are useless. You will amount to nothing. Because there are people who are hell-bent to do what? To crush your spirit. Because the most important thing that a person should have is hope. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 tells us that there is hope for the living. A living dog is better than a dead lion because there is hope for him. So when someone wants to destroy you, first, he makes sure that he destroys your hope. He crushes your spirit. And that is what made these children of Israel to cry. They were being reminded, you are a slave. You are good for nothing. You are here to be seen but not to be heard. You are here just to be a visible element. Crushed spirit. And another aspect, hard labor. They were being given hard labor. You know, I've tried most of my life. I've done hard labor jobs. I call them hard skills job. The job that are physical. And they're not good job. First, they pay poorly. Another thing, their working environment is always poor. And another thing, they don't have glory and honor. So when you wear those overall, the mind of people know where they categorize you. They know they cannot have some certain conversation. They see you as someone not of their caliber. So these people were in hard labor. There's a story that usually I don't like narrating it, but it is a sad story. There was a company I was working with in airport, and we were the loaders. So that day they were celebrating end year party. And us now loaders, we were told we shall come, set up everything. Then we were locked in a warehouse. And the party was ongoing the whole night. As we have been locked in. After that, after the end of the party, now we were released. Our work was to help those service providers to pack their belongings. And also to ensure that the ground is clean. Because we were the hard laborers. Hard laborers have no say. So there are people who want you to be just hard laborer. They don't want to give you opportunities that will elevate you. They don't want to give you opportunity that will make you become somebody. All their mind, they think of this job that they cannot offer to their children. It's what they are telling you. We have given you this job. We have created this job. And the best job they give to their allies, to their cronies, to their family members, to their friends. But you now, they tell you we'll give you this job, the hard labor job. And this is what was happening to the children of Israel. The job that cannot sustain you. The job that cannot give you a livelihood. The job that cannot give you an inheritance. The children of Israel were crying because of hard labor. There is a lot of hard labor, especially in Africa. And to make the matter worse, it is a cheap hard labor. Cheap hard labor is a condemnation. Their job that you do, you see dark. Because it crushes your spirit. The amount cannot enable you to further your studies. The amount cannot give you anything good. It crushes your spirit. You see your colleagues, your former classmates becoming somebody. You 10 years, you are still in that warehouse doing the hard labor. It crushes your spirit. And this is what the children of Israel were doing to the children of Egyptians were doing to the children of Israel, making them to cry. They were being oppressed. People are being oppressed. Oppressed how? By overtaxation. People are being overtaxed everywhere. People are being, what we hear is just increase in levies, increase in taxes, increase, we shall take more from you. Rather than, they usually say democracy is whereby you elect your own dictator, and it is what happens. They are taking much from us. People are being, in Kenya, people are overrepresented. One man is overrepresented by over 50 people. You are, because of what? You are being oppressed. Oppressed whereby the amount you are getting, you can never do anything meaningful. You have plans, but you cannot achieve your plans because a lot is being taken away by the government. You are being oppressed. You want to take your kids to better schools, but you are limited. You want to live in a very good place, you are limited. You want to enjoy life, you are limited because you are oppressed. And this leads to cry. Chapter 1 verse 12. We are just interrogating matters that made these people to cry. I've said the first one, their spirit was crushed and they were doing hard labor. Now, the next point, the children of Israel were crying because they were being oppressed. Oppressed how? Chapter 1, verse 12. The Bible says, but the more the Egyptians oppressed the Israelites, the more they increased in number, and in the further they spread through the land. The Egyptians came to fear the Israelites. So there is element of oppression. They were being oppressed. Oppressed whereby no opportunities, no distribution of resources, no opportunity for growth. They were being oppressed. Being oppressed whereby a certain region, there is no development because of their voting pattern. They are being oppressed. They are being oppressed. If education is not affordable, it oppresses people. Farmers, they plant, they have their sugar cane, but there's a lot of, they say, cartels. These are just agents of oppression. And the government watches them. The government knows them by name, but it allows the people to be oppressed. This leads to what? To cry. Since we were born, we have heard of these cartels. They are just people. They just live well. But why is it that there is no action against them? Because they are allowed to oppress the poor farmers. They are allowed to oppress because they are the political financiers. They are people who contribute in those 1 million plates. They are the people who are known for providing finances to politicians. Oppression leads to cry. People cry when their lives are miserable. When people are miserable, they have no option but to cry out. The children of Israel were miserable. I've seen the people from Burundi. I know some of them. Someone leave the job of police in their nation to come and sell tea in Kenya. People leave good jobs to come and do miserable jobs in foreign land. Why? Because there is miserable. There's misery in those nations. People now, they go to those countries to do domestic works. In the Middle East, some come in coffin because there is miserable life. People die. So many youths die when they try to cross over to Europe because of miserable life. It causes people to cry. So they are trying to silence that cry by running away. Miserable life. As we are talking, it was recorded this year, a lot of the highest cases of suicide because people are miserable. People have no hope. Miserable life. And this was what made the children of Israel to cry. So when leaders make the life of people miserable, they have no option but to cry. They cry because of their misery. chapter 1 verse 14, and made their cruel slavery. They made their lives miserable by forcing them to cruel slavery. So the children of Israel were subjected to misery. They were miserable. They were denied a lot. They were deprived a lot. They did not have say. And that is what is happening. People are miserable. People are miserable in Africa. Dictators. Someone change constitution the way he wants. And people will do nothing because they are miserable. Someone steal and he tells his constituents, I was stealing for you. You are stealing for us. How much did you get? You are making these people miserable. And in Africa, they have this notion that it is easier to lead poor people. So the more you make them miserable, the more they will depend on you. The more they will cry, they will idolize you. The way they will be worshiping you because you have made their life miserable. And this is what the Egyptian wanted. The children of Israel to be subjected to them forever, making their life miserable. And they had no mercy. They made their lives miserable by forcing them to cruel slavery. They made them to work their buildings project in their field, and they had no mercy on them. I've watched this building bridges. I don't know this dialogue that is happening at Bomas. I've not watched much video, but the few I've watched is about increase of position. Oh, we want to increase our counties. We want to increase constituencies. We want to increase the numbers of female leaders. It's about allocation. It's about increase. Who will pay them? Because there is no mercy. We want to increase our pets. We want to have allowances. This allowance. Because they are driven with no empathy. They have no empathy. They are not sympathizers. They are not merciful to the plight of the people. And this is what contributes to the cry. This is what contributes to the cry. That a leader, for him to come to a place, he must part away with money. Because people are miserable. People are not coming to hear you. They come because of the money you are giving them. Because their lives is miserable. And it will come a time that they will be up in arms against you. And you will not like it. Because the cry is getting louder. Their misery, their miserable life is getting louder. Another factor that contributed to their cry, it is because their heritage is being destroyed. When your livelihood, when your generation is under threat, you will have to cry. And this is what was making the children of Israel to cry. Their lineage. What is it that is making people to cry? How is heritage, generations under threat? By introduction to some laws that promote gayism and lesbianism. When you allow gays and lesbians, this is fighting against the laws of God of reproduction, of increase, of families. Because a man and a man cannot conceive. A woman and a woman cannot conceive. This one is fighting against God. And this one is fighting against the heritage, against inheritance, against the seed. This will make people cry. When so many youths are being recruited to join this camp of gays and lesbians, there's a lot of money that has been poured, crowdsourcing on that region, funding, much funding to promote gayism and lesbianism. The government is silent. They know the activities, but they are silent. In fact, the other day, our Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, allowed gays to assemble, to gather. What is happening? It will lead to cry. Because when so many parents, because the Bible says the joy of the parents is the grandchildren. So when that joy will not be found, they will lead to cry. When someone knows there is no one will take after him, there must be cry. Well, look at what is happening. Someone brings a product in Kenya, and our youth flock like souls in hell. A product called WorldCoin. Now people are crying, oh, we have problem with our eyes. There's a lot of challenge because someone is not careful on their family. Someone is destroying their generation. We have seen companies being established. They have not performed environmental assessment that affect the health of the citizens. They allow people to bring companies that are choking people with smoke, that is harmful, is killing generations. There are some regions in Kenya, in the future to come, a few years to come, there will be a problem because someone did not protect the heritage. Someone was silent, and this will attract the cry. Last week, there was a product, a nicotine product, that even it was in parliament. The minister, the CS, cabinet secretary for health was called upon to elaborate on this product that has nicotine, a substance that is very harmful, a substance that is very addictive. And he said it's not aware, and it has been in circulation. Youth have been consuming this, and this is leading to death. Illicit brew everywhere nowadays. What they just do, they go and take some arms, killing generation, and this must attract a cry. When generations is under threat, the cry must be seen. Corruption. Corruption is making people, is destroying future because there are some product, there are some maize, there are some oil, there are some sugar that are very harmful to human consumption, but they're in the market. Someone allowed it to go through. Someone slept on the job because they don't mind on the next generation. They only think about their pocket, and this must attract a cry. When the generation is under threat, people must cry. So when the legislatures, people who make policies, they allow generations to be affected, they will attract a cry. Exodus chapter 1 verse 15 and 16, the Bible tells us, the king of Egypt spoke to Shiphrah and Puah, the two midwives who helped the Hebrew women. When you help the Hebrew women give birth, he said to them, kill the baby. So the king ordered, he made a decree for the Hebrews to be killed, for the Hebrew children to be killed, the infant to be killed at birth. This was the threat to generation, threat to the population of the Israelites. The threat, like now what is happening, there is problem. There is some challenges between Palestine and Israel. It has been for long. And the intention is to fight the generation, to destroy a lineage. There was a time Adolf Hitler tried to destroy the population of the Israelites. And when they did it, they cried to God, and God made them to be very powerful. They did not decline. They became more powerful because their future was at stake. So when leaders allow vasectomy, when they allow gays to have their way, when they allow harmful companies to come and destroy generations, the cry must be heard. The cry must be heard. I'm just telling you what contributes to the cry. Verse 16. When you help the Hebrew women give birth, he said to them, kill the baby if it is a boy. But if it is a girl, let it live. The boy child. The boy child. Look at what is happening to the boy child. Look at how they're indulging in harmful substance. Look at how Satan has targeted the boy child. Look at how this gayism, they're targeting the boy child. Nowadays, so many youths are coming up. I'm gay. I'm a cross-dresser. I'm a gay. Satan is targeting these boys, and the government is silent. Even a cross-dresser went to State House, and he dined with the high and mighty in State House. Abominable thing before God. A cross-dresser was accepted in State House. What message are you sending to other men? You are telling them you are okay. You are accepted in this nation. These activities are accepted. Boy child is under threat. Initiatives, they're only targeting girl child. So many projects are targeting girl child. Boy child is being despised. Boy child is being neglected. And this is what makes them to be weak. The Bible. And when the boy child will have no say, society will be destroyed because men contain seed. Men contain power. Men are the pillars of families. But when men are ruined, what will happen? Boy child. They were targeting boy child, and now they are targeting boy child. Look at this substance that they are focusing on. They allow anything that is going to boy child. They allow it. Illicit brew of any kind. They allow it. Those companies that make them, they are known. But because they are giving boy child, they have no issue. Look at what is happening in central part of the nation. Women are crying there are no men because these substances are destroying men. The nicotine substance that was in parliament was targeting boy child. Boy child is like an endangered species. Boy child. And this must attract a cry. When the boy child is in suffering, people must cry. Why were people crying? They were crying because they were being led by unrighteous leaders. Unrighteous leaders only think about their stomach, only think about their packs, only think about of their welfare. People who are unrighteous, they must make people cry. Look at someone making a decree of death, someone making a decree of hardship, someone making a decree of hard labor, someone making a decree to crush the spirit of the children of Israel because he was a wicked leader. So when you want to know you are a wicked leader, it's the policies, the laws that you pass, the conversation that you have, the dealings that you have will inform you if you are a wicked leader. You are a wicked leader when your people cry. The Bible is very clear. You are a wicked person when you make your people cry. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 16. when increase in crime is a product of wicked leaders. When your area there's increase in crime, then know that is an indicator of your wickedness. That one is a clear indication that you are a wicked leader. Where there is crime against humanity, when people shed blood, when there is a lot of murder, there is a lot of suicide, there is a lot of theft, there is a lot of robbery, know that you are a wicked leader. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 16, the Bible says, when evil people are in power, crime increases. When wicked people are in power, crime increases. Because there is no order, because there is no check and balance. Crime against humanity, economic crimes, people are corrupt to the core, are being appointed. People with questionable character. Crime has increased because a leader is wicked. When a leader is righteous, but when the righteous will live to see the downfall of such people. But the righteous will live to see the downfall of such people. So when there is a lot of crime, people must cry. There is a lot of crime, people must cry. There was a crime against humanity. There was a crime against society. There was crime during the time of Moses. There was bloodshed. So people had to cry because there was crime, increase in crime. Murderers are walking scot-free. Corrupt people are finding their way because the people who are leading are not God-fearing. When you are God-fearing, you will not allocate all the resources to yourself. You will not make people more poorer than you found them. You will not make them miserable. You will not make them poor. You will not have projects that benefit your pocket. You will not steal from them because you fear God. But when you are not God-fearing, crime must increase because you will not have moral authority to question because you are corrupted. Last election, I refused to take part in any campaign so that I may speak, so that my conscience is clear, so that I can tell someone. But if I would have joined in any camp, I will not have moral authority. And that is what is happening in the church. The church was corrupted, so they don't have any stand. They cannot talk because they were pocketed. And this is what makes wickedness to increase, to thrive. The Bible is very clear. When the evil people are in power, crime increases. So just look at your society. Just look at your jurisdiction. And look at the life of people. How's the crime rate? How's the crime rate? Look at what is happening. They were saying there is reemergence of AZs. AZs are those cops that are bloodthirsty. Everywhere in Dandora, they are up. Korogosho, Uruma, they are there. The crime has increased. Look at the tribal clashes. Look at what is happening. The castle wrestling. Every day there is a war. Every day it's like, that is the news. There is a bloodshed somewhere. Because wicked must increase when the evil people are in power. So when there is an increase in crime, know that there is wickedness at the throne. So leaders, they must look at themselves. They must evaluate their judgment. They must look at their walk with Christ. Are they righteous? Are they right with God? For God to reduce the crime. The solution of crime is not killing youth. It's being someone righteous. It's just providing righteousness. It's just to seek God. And God will take care of the youths. It's not about sending military. It's about being righteous. Because the Bible says, when the evil people are in power, crime increases. In your region, in your ward, in your constituency, in your county, when there is crime, know that you are wicked. You need to reevaluate your life. You need to walk with Christ. And you will reduce that crime rate to the lowest of the lows. Wicked people. There is something that we have to talk. These people are crying, and God heard their cry. Exodus chapter 3 verse 7 to 10. The cry of the children of Israel reached God, and God himself came down and delivered them. So when leaders are burdening the citizens, when people are taking advantage of the poor, when they are trying to make people more poorer, they are crying to God, and their cry will not be in vain. God will respond to the cry. God heard their suffering. God is hearing the suffering. When you are overtaxation, when you are introducing more levies, when you are taking more from them, when you are robbing them of their livelihood, know that their cry will reach God. When you are making them to do hard laborers, when you are crushing their spirit, when you are oppressing them, when you are making their life miserable, know that God hears their cry. God heard the cry of the children of Israel, and he personally came down and delivered them. So God will deliver his people. God will deliver his people. And the thing about oppressing people, what we have to accept is that when you oppress people, God prepare your replacer. God replace oppressors. God replace those, they call themselves dictator. We don't have a benevolent dictator in Africa. They are all dictators. There is no benevolent. Because whatever they are doing is for their own pursuit. It's their own gain. Benevolent is about, I'm dictating things for your own benefit, for your own good. We don't have them in Africa. The last leader that I think Africa had was Thomas Sankara. The rest are just people in business, political business, just to get money, just to have good life through political means. We have to speak the Bible. We have to go back to the basic. God is determined to rescue his people. Those cry will not dry before God responds. God is hearing when that woman cannot take the children to school because someone has taken the money, because someone has denied them opportunity, because someone is making that company, is stealing from that company, so they cannot pay rent. God is listening to those cries. God is listening to the cry of the children. God is listening to those cries. I was saying, when you're oppressing people, they say power is temporary. So when you are taking that power, you are misusing that power, you are abusing that power, you are making the people to cry. God is busy preparing someone better. When Saul thought that he is the only one, God prepared David. Another sad story is about Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. This boy was making the people to cry. He was overworking them. He was introducing them to hard labor. He was whipping them and led to revolt. We have seen in Africa, there is a lot of revolt, especially this year. A lot of coup d'etat. There are so many presidents that have been dethroned because the cry of the people. God empower people to remove the kings. God empower people to remove the mighty men. Muammar Gaddafi was very powerful, but God empowered the youth. We have seen what happened in Burkina Faso, in Niger. We have seen in the northern part of Africa what has been happening. God empowering people. When the cry of the children of Israel reached God, He came down and delivered them. So the cry of Kenyans is reaching to God. When you are using your opportunity to fleece them, to make them more poorer, God is listening. When you are planning, our leaders nowadays, they have their offices, spacious offices that their predecessors have occupied. But now they are taking their private offices where they can cut deals in malls, very expensive malls, being paid by the taxpayers. There are so many of them. They are taking money meant for the poor, for their own projects, for their own endeavors. The cry is reaching to God. We know some of them were poor. Now they own flights, they own choppers. They are living in leafy suburbs. What magic has happened? The cry, you are overburdening people, overburdening them. The cry of the children of Israel. The story of Rehoboam, a sad story. 1 Kings chapter 12. Let us just read that verse so that you know those people are crying. The book of 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 16. Let us just speak verse 9. The Bible says, "What do you advise me to do?" He asked. "What shall I say to the people who are asking me to make their burden lighter?" The burden lighter. There was a plea. The plea that the people of Kenya are making to the authority. Make our burden lighter. Already we are overburdened. Make our burden lighter. Look at what the leaders are telling us. They replied, "This is what you should tell them. My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Tell them, my father placed heavy burden on you. I will make them even heavier. He beat you with whip. I'll flog you with horsewhip." So people are crying to the authority, make our burden lighter. But they're telling them, we'll make you suffer more. You will have to suffer more for some time. You have to be burdened for some time. You must carry this burden for some time. You must bear. And we are seeing how they are doing, how they are allocating money, how they are spending, how they are using our money lavishly. We are watching. It is what they are happening. They are making our burden more heavier. What Rehoboam did. Verse 16, when the people saw that the king would not listen to them, they shouted. When the people saw, when the people of Kenya, when the people of Africa see that their leaders is not responding, their leaders is not listening, they take action. And they take drastic action. And they go when they know that they have to get what they want. When the people saw that the king would not listen to them, they shouted, "Down with the David and his family. What have they have done for us?" So God placed you in leadership position to do something. So the day that you not do something to them, they will cry and tell God, "Remove this person, this burden. Remove this person. We gave him this opportunity. He made our life bitter. He has done nothing for us." People of Israel, let's go home. Let Rehoboam look out for himself. There is a time you will be isolated because you burden people. There's a time that will come. Nobody will listen to you. You have lied to people for so long. You have made them more poor, more miserable, heavy burdened. They will flee from you. You will be paying people to attend to your gatherings. You will be paying people to listen to you. You will be forcing people to listen to you. They said, we are done with this generation of David and his family. We are done with them. And they pick their own leaders. People will pick their leader after their heart because God is listening. I would like to encourage my listeners. God is near. When you are crushed, when your leaders are crushing your spirit, I'm here to tell you a good report. God is near. When you are crying, continue cry to the Lord because He's here. God is here and is near. Continue crying to the Lord. Psalms 34:18, the Bible tells us, the Lord is near to those who are discouraged. When you are discouraged by our leaders, the Lord is near to you. He saves those who have lost hope. God is near to them that have lost hope. When you don't have hope, just be reminded, be encouraged that the Lord is near to them that whose spirit is crushed, to them that has no hope in them. Trust in the Lord. Yes, you may think that you are weak. You may think that you have no say. You may see that, there are even some leaders who have disappeared. There are even some leaders who have abandoned their electorate. They are now looking at other offices, higher offices, far from the region. So they have abandoned the electorate. They have abandoned the electorate. So people are left very weak. They have no help. They have no one to represent them. They have no one to legislate for them. They have no one to oversight the projects. They have abandoned like orphaned. There are people even they have shifted their allegiance and abandoned the people. There are people who have abandoned their subject. I want to encourage you. In that weak state, God will strengthen you. God is going to give people strength. We saw the children of Israel. The more they were being oppressed, the more they were increasing, the more they were becoming powerful. So when the leaders are thinking, they are making you more poorer. They are making you more desolate. They are making you to be more miserable. God is providing strength. One of my favorite verses that I like to share today. God provides strength to the weary and give power to the weak. God provides strength to the weary when you are fainted, when you have no hope, when you have no hope to the leaders. Cry to God because God will provide strength for you to complete that project. God will provide strength, financial muscle. God will provide strength. God will provide capacities. God will provide networks. God will provide whatever it takes. He provides strength to the weary. He provides power to the weak. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 29. I know you have read chapter 31, but you have not focused on this. 29. The Bible says, 20, verse 31 is a common one. 29, He strengthened those who are weak and tired. So God will provide strength in that heavy burden situation. God will provide strength. In that situation that you see darkness, I want to encourage you today, God will provide strength because He promises that He strengthens those who are weak and tired. Those who are weary, God strengthen them. I'd like to encourage you today, God will strengthen you. God will give you strength. Don't be afraid. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10. Do not be afraid, I am with you. God is telling you, I am with you. The way God was with the children of Israel, God is with the children of Africa who are being oppressed, whose spirit is being crushed, who are being made to be more poorer, who are being made to be beggars. You are taking loans from all, you don't even know how you will pay them. Every day is about taking loan. Who will pay them? Because you want to make people to be more miserable. You want to make people to be beggars. You want people to live in fear. But the Bible is telling us, do not be afraid. I am with you. I am your God. Let nothing terrify you. I will make you strong and help you. I'll protect you and save you. What a promise. God is going to save you. God is going to protect you in the difficult moment. Even when they oppress you, God will protect you. Even when they crush your spirit, even when they steal from you, God will protect you. Your children will study. Your children will learn. Your house will never be closed. You will never beg. God will provide because He promises He will be with you until the end of the ages. May God bless you. May God richly lift you up. And may God encourage you. For you to watch this video and other videos, they're there on YouTube. Kindly proceed to YouTube. Address remain Erick Sublime. Don't forget to put that CK. Kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe for you to watch this video and other videos. And I believe that you will be blessed abundantly. I would like to encourage you to be a student of the Bible. We have a college here where we taught about theology. And we'll teach you a lot so that you will not be corrupted, so that you will have stronger faith, so that you may stand firm and correct doctrinal error. The college is Mount Moriah Theological College. Address remain Mount Moriah Center, Moriah of that mountain of Abraham, Moriah. Intake is ongoing. There are so many people. Soon and very soon we'll be starting to study. Don't be left out in this cohort, and God will bless you. I would like to encourage you to stand with this ministry in kind or in cash. You are a child of God. You don't have to go to those crowdsourcing platforms, and you can be partake of this blessing. You know, Americans, they have a lot of this donation whereby they provide in kind. That's why God is blessing them the more. But Africa, we withhold a lot and we lose a lot. You can be a blessing to this ministry. Stand with us in kind or in cash. When you are blessed with whatever thing that God has placed in your heart, be it chair, be it tables, everything, music instrument, lighting, we shall appreciate. You can drop your text or you can send your Mpesa. Mpesa number remains 0725 102 528. 0725 102 528. If you have any issue, you want more clarification on our college, kindly drop a text, give me a call, 0725 102 528, and I will respond immediately when you reach out to me. We are located in MUKURU RELI market, adjacent to DONHOLM railway station. Kindly proceed to room number 245. There is where we worship God. There is where we learn from God. And there is where we get more revelation. And God will bless you abundantly. I love with the love of Christ. My name is Onyango Erick. See you in the next issue. Be blessed. Be encouraged. And know that every day you cry to God, God listens. That's why I told those women, don't cry for me. Cry to your children. Cry for yourself. Because God hears the cry of His people and He comes down and deliver them. May you continue to cry to God, and God will meet you at your point of need. I love you with the love of Christ. See you next time. Bye-bye.